From flattering words and manipulative behavior to inflated egos and hidden disdain, today we look at indicators you may be dealing with a psychopath. Number 11. All talk. Psychologists warn that one of the chief red flags of a psychopath is the presence of ambitious goals while being totally oblivious to the difficulty of achieving them. Egotistical and selfish, psychopaths will proudly, albeit unknowingly, display their sense of entitlement by routinely discussing their intended destination, paying no mind to the journey on which they have yet to embark. Truly successful people, on the other hand, will instead focus on their plans, their routines, and the process it requires to reach their dreams. Conversely, psychopaths often behave as if they're already living them. Number 10. Narcissism. High aims and goals are simply the result of a psychopath's inflated sense of their own achievements and qualities. They are narcissistic by nature, incapable of seeing flaws in their own personalities, or rather, they refuse to grant them recognition. Instead, those with a psychopathic persona will project the flaws they secretly feel insecure about towards those around them. Should they feel conscious about their own weight, for example, they will instead judge those around them for their lack of fitness, as a means to raise their own self-esteem. Psychopaths are especially receptive to those who praise, admire, and shower them with compliments, while responding to criticism and insults with a seething anger, and will seek out revenge for the offense. It doesn't take much criticism to set a psychopath off, as they place their own thoughts and perceptions on a very high pedestal. Even constructive criticism can be viewed as an act of war by someone with this toxic mindset. Similarly, any sort of blame will fall on deaf ears should it be directed at a psychopath. Using their manipulative skill set, these people are adept at deflecting to anyone other than themselves. Number 9. Reward-focused. While rewards of any type are generally well received by most, psychopaths are specifically attuned to seek them out no matter the consequences. Most everyone's behavior is driven, at least in part, by the assumed payoff for their deeds. But for psychopaths, this means ignoring any of the moral, ethical, legal, or other ramifications for their actions. Part of the reason for this is that the brain of a person with this mental condition actually releases up to 4 times the dopamine that would be released in an average person when receiving an award. In this way, the actions of a psychopath may actually be involuntary, as the appeal of the reward becomes so overwhelming that consequences and risks become irrelevant in the pursuit of their target. Some researchers have gone so far as to suggest that the consequences of chasing a reward play into the reward itself, creating a compounding achievement. For psychopaths, this means that they actually care too much about the consequences rather than not at all. Their drive to achieve or become something that would seem out of reach to most becomes so great that they don't bother to weigh the gain against any cost or damage that could come from their quest. Number 8. Lack of empathy. Self-centered and guiltless, psychopathic personalities are missing any semblance of a conscience or empathy. They're missing that little voice in the back of their mind that most have to remind them to do the right thing. It's this lack of self-regulating emotions that allows psychopathic people to engage in behavior that most people would at most fantasize about. Primal urges like attacking someone who's angered you or kissing someone you're attracted to, suddenly and without warning, is the kind of behavior your conscience and ability to relate to others keeps you from pursuing. Psychopaths, on the other hand, don't have this speed bump to keep them from engaging in such crazy behavior. Their low impulse control can be revealed in how quickly they take to aggression, in a wide number of casual romance partners, or their tendency to participate in risky or dangerous acts. Number 7. Poor mimicry. A natural response of people attempting to sympathize and empathize with a loved one's feelings is to mirror their body language and physical expressions. If you can't stop laughing while recounting a funny story, an empathic person will likely be all smiles. The same is true should you burst into tears while spilling your soul. These kinds of people will likely be sad right there alongside you. But in the case of psychopaths, such physical reactions and facial expressions don't come naturally, and to use them in their manipulative guise trying to relate to you will require a conscious effort. This lack of connectivity to others goes even beyond emotion. While witnessing others yawn will often trigger your own involuntary display of fatigue, psychopaths are strangely immune to this as well, all because, unlike the average person, they are wholly and completely concerned with their own well-being. Number 6. Charming. Being popular isn't everything, especially when it comes to judging the character of others. Psychopaths tend to be well-liked, finding ways to win over others with their clever small talk and chameleon-like ability to blend right into any environment. Witty, complimentary, and full of intriguing tales and anecdotes, these people know how to attract those around them, masking their true intentions and personality from the public eye. Their stories are meant to dazzle and place themselves in a positive light. However, they're carefully crafted to retain believability so as to keep up the charade. As unassuming acquaintances flock to these deceivers, psychopaths gain trust and begin their process of manipulation. A specific target of a psychopathic person will be made to feel special, with the toxic personality pouring on specified forms of flattery attuned for their target's preferences. You might be able to spot this behavior for what it is if you notice the person constantly changing their personality to fit your mold, if others in their life think of them completely different than you do, or even if you sense insincerity. Number 5. Provocative. As these manipulative people infiltrate your life and grow closer, they will be quick to use the information you've entrusted to them against you. Psychopaths learn all the right buttons to push and tend to willingly provoke those around them in hopes of drawing a reaction. When someone gives them the emotional outburst they crave, a psychopath is ready to blame them for their reaction, often using this response as a reason to avoid the topic in the future. This kind of gaslighting results in their victim questioning their own sensitivity and possibly their sanity. These provocations are specifically used in the workplace, where triggering a passionate reaction can have negative consequences on your career. This behavior becomes a catalyst for acquiring sympathy from a possible mate, making it a potential romantic problem as well. Reconciliation for your apparently poor reaction can feel like the natural path to take for a normal sympathetic person. But if you feel wronged, it might be worth examining your relationship to the person before taking the weight of the blame. Number 4. Habitual liars. A psychopath doesn't need a better story. They don't need an excuse or a motive. They don't need any reason at all, and yet they still tell a lie in order to get what they want when they want it. People with a psychopathic personality will get so used to shifting stories and behaviors that dishonesty becomes second nature. To catch them or confront them is to bring accusations of paranoia and overanalysis on yourself, and be left feeling guilty for their lies. True psychopaths are so deceitful, they can look you in the eye and lie to you with a straight face, spinning whatever elaborate tale is necessary with the aim of controlling your perspective. And they can keep track of all their lies with uncanny expertise as well. It's important to distinguish that these same behaviors are indicative of a pathological liar, and not all pathological liars are psychopaths, but all psychopaths do tend to be pathological liars. Either way, it's best to approach people who act in this manner with great caution. Number 3. Dissonance triggering. While many of the clues used to spot a psychopath are in the behavior they exhibit, you can also look inwards for answers. When a person with psychopathic behavior enters your world, a shift in your mood can occur. Whereas you may have a solid foundation and sense of your own morality and ethics, you might find yourself suddenly experiencing feelings of increasing self-doubt. And as you attempt to pinpoint the source of this change in your own mood, the person in question will continuously deflect blame back to you. A psychopath will con, cheat, lie, and manipulate you into believing they are absolutely fine and that it's you who has the problem. It's important to establish a constant in your life, someone that you can trust fully that never makes you feel down, and compare the person responsible for this psychopathic behavior to them. Otherwise, that toxic person in your life can continue making you feel crazy when really they were the psychopath all along. Number 2. No loyalty. Self-centered as they are, psychopathic people will replace the people in their life, no matter the importance of their relationship, in the blink of an eye. They might establish an instant connection with you, making you feel enamored with the strange natural bond you're able to immediately forge. They'll tell you about others in their life who are unstable, crazy, and a toxic component in their life. But at some point, when they return to these people, this psychopathic person will turn the tide on you and hurl those same labels in your direction. Psychopaths pursue their own interest with no guilt, leaving a trail of collateral damage in their wake and blaming the victims of their behavior along the way. Such disloyalty will present itself in group situations as well, with these toxic people ready to turn peers, friends, and even family against each other. Using gossip and spreading rumors, a psychopath will inject jealousy and suspicion into a group by feigning concern and sadness to skew perceptions. Such tactics will cause everyone to not only be distracted from their insidiousness, but also create a reliance on their presence while raising their worth among the group. Number 1. Follow bad leaders. No one likes to work under a rude, micromanaging, unethical, or demanding boss, except for psychopaths. In such an environment, normal people will find it difficult to remain productive, excel, or even accomplish the bare minimum of the job requirements. However, this is the perfect setting for a psycho to flourish. These people will use their manipulative ways to con a boss into valuing them above others, ignoring the stress brought upon their peers. You will see these people move up the ranks with no worries paid towards the obvious hindrance of the higher-ups.